Everybody, thanks for watching NibblenFlix, the podcast where snacks meet cinema, and we choose from everything from buttery popcorn to box office buzz. I'm your host, Jeff Fried. Hit the like button so we get more eyes on a video, and if you're not a subscriber yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also hit the notification bell so you get notified when we upload new content on the channel. And in this video, we're going to be munching on the new Stephen King adaptation of The Long Walk. Will it give you cramps, or is it a nice stroll in the park? Maybe a little bit of both. Let's talk about it. A group of teenage boys compete in an annual contest known as the Long Walk. The participants, known as the walkers, must maintain a speed at least 3 miles per hour or risk execution if they slow down. The contest ends when only one last walker remains alive, for which they will receive a prize and cash of money, allowing them to get whatever they want. The movie is directed by Francis Lawrence, who directed films such as The Hunger Games, Meet the Parents, and the movie is starring Cooper Hoffman as Raymond, David Johnson as Peter, Toot Niyut as Arthur, Bang Wang as Hank, Charlie Plummer as Gary, and Mark Hamill as the Major. So now watch our videos before, we actually break it down into 3 segments: the good, the bad, and the final verdict. And I've been really interested to see this movie for a while after I saw the presentation at CinemaCon, brought out Mark Hamill and David Johnson to talk about this film, and it just felt like they were giving all the vibes that it kind of gave me for like Hunger Games mixed with Stand By Me. And I like how they were telling us like what they had to do for certain scenes, how they were shooting it, how David Johnson and others had to prepare for this movie to do like all these walking. They actually were walking a lot, and he said he had to train his body to walk and talk, because if you ever walk and talk, sometimes you exert a lot of energy and you might get out of breath pretty quickly if you're talking too much and you're walking at a fast pace. So I thought that was kind of cool how he talked about how to prepare for that. But everything I've seen about this film really piqued my interest, and it's always great to see Mark Hamill playing a villain. He's like the ultimate hero when it comes to cinematic movies. He was playing Luke in Star Wars, but he played the voice of the Joker in the Batman animated series, and also like the prankster and the DC CW TV shows. But whenever we get a chance to see Mark Hamill play the other side, the dark side, is always fun to see. So I was very interested to see what they're going to do. And now let's talk about the movie. Thinking about this film, it does have the vibes of Stand By Me and Hunger Games mixed together, and Francis Lawrence does a great job bringing all the goodness from the Hunger Games into this film. But I think he did some things that he expand more on certain elements that you didn't see in the Hunger Games. I thought this was kind of separates the type of 2 films, and one of them is basically, instead of like rather building up the tension, he actually developed most of the characters to the point where you are fully engaged with these characters. So when they are killed off, there's more emotional weight to it. And I thought that was a good job too, because while he was developing the characters, it kind of made you forget that this whole competition is going on, because you're so engaged with the character development and understanding these characters and understanding why they got in this competition. And then out of nowhere, the movie just lets you know straight up, like, this is a competition about life or death. And I like that a lot. And with that, Lawrence reminds us how serious this competition is early on in the film with the first couple of executions. And man, they were shocking and gory. And most of the kills in this movie is very gory. And there's a scene in this movie like near the end of the first act, and it involves them walking up a hill, and it's probably the most gut-wrenching scene I've seen in a while. And mind you, there's like 50 walkers in this competition, so this is the time where they can actually mow down some people, and that's basically what it did. And the way they were doing it was very, very tenseful, because you just didn't know who was going to get shot, and it was basically like all over, sporadic, all over the place. And they focus on a couple of characters off and on, then they show people getting mowed down also in the back as well. And it was just so gut-wrenching and so tough to watch, but you couldn't move your eyes away from the screen because it was such an intense building scene. You just wanted to see who was actually going to survive the hill. And I thought that was like one of the most craziest scenes that I've seen in these type of films when it comes to like these competitions, where it's like, just go for yourself, protect yourself, and just survive so you could be the winner. And that was like one of the scenes that let you know straight on that this is a very serious competition, and we may lose some people that you might like, and you just never know when it's going to happen. I thought that was a great job, and that scene was executed very well. And what I love about this film is how Lawrence actually brings everything together, and it's like building the character development, but most importantly, how can someone survive this competition? Like, what is someone's limitations? You know, how far can you go, basically? Like, even if you're in peak physical condition, you can have the best strategy. You can think you're the most mentally strong person out there. Can you survive this competition after seeing all this craziness going on? I thought that was very, very well how they executed that, because it shows how someone could be in tip-top shape, but if you don't have the mental capacity to handle all this, you may fail. You may think you're the best strategist of all time, but will it work? Like, what will go wrong? Did you calculate everything right? Did you calculate everything mentally right? Did you calculate everything physically right? Felt like Lawrence understood what he was trying to do here, and he portrayed that very well in the film. But you just see some characters is basically like losing it throughout the film, because they, you know, and you're like, man, you're in top physical shape and you can still go, but your mind is just going. That was just what made the movie so intense, because you're looking at some characters and you're like, man, that character is just not going to make it, but they're just mentally strong. Then you got the other character, you're like, man, they can walk this all day. They can walk 500 miles with no problem, but are they mentally strong enough to do it? I thought that was very well how they captured that in this film. So the main characters of the movie, they call themselves the Musketeers, even though it's 4 of them, and one of them I pointed out, hey, it's only 3 in the Musketeers, but the main characters are Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Toot Newt, and Ben Wang, and they played their characters absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love watching them characters. You get the actual build-up of the character development of them. You also understand why they're in competition, and the banter between them is so fun to watch. And you understand exactly what's going on with each character, and why they think they have a shot to win, or may not think they may have a shot to win. I thought that was interesting as well. They are the heart of this film. So if you're going to like this film or not, it's basically based on these 4 characters. And if you like these 4 characters, you love how everything's going on between these 4 individuals, you're going to love this film. And I thought they did an amazing job doing that. And also what they also did a great job was involving the other characters as well, like the other secondary characters in this film, to where you have some kind of sympathy and feeling engagement with them as well. That including the villains. You know, you start off with some characters that you just don't like. Like, for example, Charlie Palmer's character, Gary. You absolutely do not like this guy. He does something early in the film. You're like, dude, I can't wait when they get you. I cannot wait when they get you. But they get to the point of the film where you're watching it and they start humanizing these guys. They kind of like a coming age. You see who they really are. And you kind of feel like, you know what, you are who you are for your background. I kind of don't really blame you. I'm sorry you took this route rather than a more positive route, but you know, they get you to the point where you're engaged and you're heavily invested. So when you start losing some characters in this movie, it's more weight to it. That's what, like I said earlier, it's more weight to these characters when you start losing these guys in this film, and it just makes it more gut-wrenching. It's a very gut-wrenching film. It's very heartbreaking at a certain point to this film, because you just don't want to see these characters go, but you know it has to happen because we have to have a winner in this movie. And I thought they did an amazing job playing their characters, getting you to understand that, you know, even though it could be a group of guys trying to work together or guys individually trying to survive, they do enough job to where you actually heavily invest into his character. So when some of these guys go, you feel it, and you're very sad and heartbreaking about it. And that's something that I thought the characters, the acting, Francis Lawrence did a great job, is making you sure that you are heavily invested in his characters. Either they win or they got executed. One of the elements that they put in this film I thought was very interesting. You never saw it like in The Hunger Games. Is like, what are you gonna do to relieve yourself? Like, you gotta, you know, pee, or you gotta take a dump. What are you gonna do in those situations? They actually put this in the film, and I thought it was a very interesting concept that they put in the film. I thought it was realistic and made it more gut-wrenching as well, more intense when it comes to someone relieving themselves. And like, what are you gonna do? You can't sit there and take a relaxing dump when you got a gun pointed on your head and they count down your warnings. You only get 3 warnings for your shot, so you got 3 warnings to take a poop or pee or whatever, and you got to also keep up the pace. So you basically stopping and taking a poop, and it's either you're gonna pee on yourself or poop on yourself and keep walking, or you're gonna take a chance, stop, get your warnings, and hope you get it all done before the 3rd warning. And I thought that was interesting that they put the element in the film. And you know, what are you gonna do? You might have to pull Jeff Daniels and Dumb and Dumber and get it all out as soon as possible before the third warning, before they shoot you. That was a really interesting twist they put in the film. So the bad about this film is Mark Hamill. It's not Mark Hamill performing at all. I thought he played the Major fantastic. It's just that he's not in the movie that much. And I felt like they left a lot on the table here. He is, I guess, the main villain of the movie. And he also have like a background story to some of the walkers. I thought that was very interesting too. And they could have used that, kind of made him more even sinister. And I just felt like they lost the opportunity here using Mark Hamill as a villain, and they just made him a guy who has this graspy voice. You know, he's come on guys, let's go, keep pushing along. And the guys be like, and then the walkers be like, F you. It's like, yeah, that's the spirit, yeah. And I'm like, that's it? That's all you're gonna do? They should have made him more sinister, make this whole competition like harder for these guys. Like each level they were going, each mile or 100 miles, whatever, he'll add something or just made it worse for them to do, to just try to pick them off one at a time to see who survives. I thought that was something that they could have played on, especially with the walker talking smack to him in his face, and he doesn't really do anything. I'm like, you know, they could have had him like, okay, y'all want to talk smack about me? All right, I got something for you. Wait, what happens when we get to the next 100 miles? Let's see who else is going to be walking and be in this competition. I felt like they left some goodness that they could have used. You got Mark Hamill. He knows how to play sinister characters. The man played the Joker. I mean, he can play crazy, wacky villain too. And he did that as the prankster for the CW DC shows. Like, you got something good here, use it. You got a great actor who's wanted, you know, to do this role, and you can make it like more sinister and more crazier and more sadistic, to where he's putting these walkers through the ringer just to see who can survive, just to be a jackass. And I feel like they left that on the table, and you know, that's just an opportunity that they missed in the script. Maybe they did shoot some of that stuff, it just didn't turn out well during the cutter room floor. Or maybe they just felt like that wasn't the way that we want to do this character. We want more focus on the group, and maybe that's the route they went. But I felt like they could at least have some moments where he's like, you know, okay, you guys did this, now we're going to add this, and then if you know, we're going to do this later on, blah blah blah. Just give him more shock value to the walkers while they trying to survive this whole thing. But they didn't do that. And I feel like that was kind of a letdown when it comes to Mark Hamill and having him in this movie. So the last thing I didn't like about the film is just how the movie ended. And it's nothing to do with the plot, the story, the characters, nothing at all. I like what they did. And they could have gone different ways with it, and I would have been satisfied either way. And it was just how the movie just went to the end credits. Like, something happens, and you're sitting there like, man, what's going to happen now? End credits. I don't know where I'm just like, wait, we ended the film like this? Like, there's nothing? Is it, wait, hold on, let me see. There's got to be an end credit or something, right? You just can't like end like that, can you? Oh, you are? That's it? Everybody here, we all here. And I just felt like everybody, including myself, the people sitting next to me, the whole audience, were like, wait, that's it? Okay, I guess got us up there and just go with it. I guess they had a runtime or something. Maybe, you know, studio came down, hey, what's the runtime? Yeah, it's too long. Shut down 2 minutes. Yeah, maybe shut down 2 minutes, then it's going to end over that. Shut those 2 minutes down, please. Shut it down. This is how I feel what happened. Because that's how it ended. It just ended uninterruptedly to the point where it's like, yo, y'all can't just end like that. It's like, okay, it's a nice shot you guys did. It's very, like, telling what happened throughout this whole film. But something else just happened, and there's got to be something else, right? What can I say? Maybe they were just trying to meet a runtime, maybe studio interference, and, you know, it happens. The final verdict. So I would have scored this film 4 out of 5 snacks, and that's because I like what Francis Lawrence was trying to do. He's trying to blending like all the good elements from the Hunger Games and mix it with the Stand By Me vibes, and it makes this beautiful mixture, and he does a great job doing that. And he brings like this rawness of this feeling to the movie, to where you feel what the characters are going on during this crazy life or death stakes competition. And just the chemistry with the main characters just watching them being fully developed, you understand the background, you understand why they're in competition, you see the banter between them. It's just really fun watching the characters, but at times it still lets you know this is a life-death competition. And then when you start getting fully invested with these characters, and that's also with the secondary characters and the villains of this film too, you start seeing how they start dropping off, how they're being killed and executed in this film. It's just so heartbreaking, but fully engaging because you're fully emotionally invested in these characters. They took the time with these characters so you understand why they are and why they're in this competition and who they are as an individual. And I thought that they did an amazing job doing that. The things I didn't like about the film, like I said before, Mark Hamill, I thought they wasted the opportunity. Nothing against Mark Hamill at all. I thought he did an amazing job playing the character, the Major. However, I felt like they left a lot of meat on the bone in the character. It could have been more sadistic, evil character who can just put these guys through more horrible stuff. I mean, they already pushed them to the limits where it's absolutely insane. But if you got someone else, like it was truly the main villain, pushing even more to the point where it's like, man, this guy is a complete asshole for doing this for him. It's already a hard enough competition. Why you gotta do this too? Like I said before, I feel like they just left some good stuff on the table for his character. And the last thing as well, just how the movie ended. I feel like the end credits just jumped out of nowhere where, you see the ending, but either way you want the ending to go, it happens, and then something happens after that, and you're just waiting to see what's going to be the fallout of that, and they don't bring that, just give you straight end credit. I thought that kind of takes out some of the film, some of the enjoyment of the film, because you just wanted to see what else was going to happen, if it was like another minute or two. And to the point where, like I said before, the audience, we were like puzzled and questioning, like, is there an end credit or something? And maybe they don't show something, like you just can't end a movie like that, but they did. Unfortunately, that would made me a 4 out of 5. I was okay to push it to a 5. They would have ended it better, and I was kind of upset a little bit, and I almost pushed it down to a 4. They would have ended it maybe differently. Maybe I would have given it a 5, but it is what it is. I came to my senses and I gave it to the score that I think is properly deserves, and not a 4, and be upset just at the ending where you gave me all this greatness. But other than that, what do you guys think? Did you guys see the movie? Plan to see the movie? Let me know in the comment section below. And thank you for watching. The next time I see you, keep watching, keep munching, and keep it real. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.